Now, as we look at the Breonna Taylor story, we have to get receipts on all the characters involved, because this is a drama, a tragic drama of the United States judicial system. That's why we in the streets. That's why we saying her name, because this system has to change. How do we go from the death of this beautiful queen, Breonna Taylor, by these three men, if we can call them men, police officers, to the subsequent arrest of her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, for attempted murder? Now, if you saw the last episode, let's take inventory. The police busted in this man's apartment after midnight without knocking and shot and killed his girlfriend. He tried to defend her, and in doing so was arrested for attempted murder. Then they used all kind of language on him, calling him an attempted cop killer and a significant threat to the men and women of the community, which brings us to this next man that we need to know, because these are the two heroes in the story. This brother right here, Kenneth Walker, and this next man, Judge Olu Stevens. Now, Judge Olu Stevens is a black superhero. He is a modern day Shaft. He fought against the white Kentucky power system by standing up to their policies against black defendants within his courtroom. They penalized him and so-called put him in his place. You know, the old uppity put him in his place thing? Now let's look at Honorable Olu Stevens and his resume. He received his bachelor's from Morehouse College, and then he got his JD from George Washington Law School. But pay attention to this. He is an original and current member of the Chief Justice's Commission on Racial Fairness. So he's the vanguard of racial fairness. He's highly acclaimed, highly educated, plenty of accolades, and highly awarded. But it still didn't stop him from being called a nigger in his courtroom. I'm going to show you this.
Taking into custody, bonds of $5,000, 10%. You'll have the bond returned to you. I've signed this order here. Once you get it, then we'll take it up, okay? As soon as you get it, thanks.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Now the new year starts. Is there something that you wish to say to me?
No, it's my brother.
Oh, was that to your brother? Because
Yes,
I
sir.
heard you say a racial epithet.
No, I didn't mean it like that.
Oh, you didn't mean it like
No.
that? Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to hold you in contempt of court for having said that. And you don't speak those words in here.
Yes,
and
sir.
that word particularly,
Yes,
you
sir.
don't use that word. I'm going to give you 60 days for having used that word. Hold you in contempt right now for having done it in this courtroom. It's disrespectful. Don't ever do it again. Thank you, Sheriff.
Now, it's one thing to say it out loud, but it's another when the public shows contempt for your actions. And then it goes up to the top by being disciplined for the way that you stand up for your people. So now in 2015, white people went crazy about some remarks that he made, where basically he's saying that this couple was teaching their 3-year-old daughter racism. What happened was this couple got robbed by 2 African-American males. After they got robbed, they said that their 3-year-old daughter is living in a constant fear of black men when they go out in public and her black friends at school. She's afraid of black people. Now, mind you, the girl is 3 years old. So the judge masterfully points out, had the perpetrators have been white, would she be scared of all white people? Which was highly doubtable. But nonetheless, they started a petition to have the judge disbarred. Now here's the petition, and it's laughable. It had 229 supporters. But at the end, let's look at the language. Olu Stevens does not deserve the right to practice law because of his unethical and possibly criminal behavior. Criminal behavior. Let's watch the tape.
Bothers me, to be honest with you.
Yes, sir.
It really troubles me. And I just have to read it in paragraph 6. I assume the victims in this case are white.
Yes.
All right. It troubles me greatly that this statement says, this incident has had the most impact on my daughter. She's in constant fear of black men. When out running errands, if we come across a black male, she holds me tight and begs me to leave. It has affected her relationships at school and relationship with our African American friends. Really? You don't have to answer for it, but I want to make that part of the record. I'm offended by that. I'm deeply offended by that. That they would be victimized by an individual and then express some kind of fear of all black men. I wonder if the perpetrator had been white, would they be in fear of white men? The answer would probably be no. I'm offended by that. It's not going to affect what happens here, but I want to make it part of the record, and perhaps you pass this on. I find this very offensive.
And certainly I understand the court's outrage there. Well, I mean, I guess I really don't, but...
Well, you understand.
I understand where you're coming from, Your Honor.
You understand exactly where I'm coming from.
Now stay with me, because you're probably saying, what does this have to do with Breonna Taylor? This was all tied into the Breonna Taylor story, because this is a story of the criminal justice system all across America. But what we're using is the Kentucky Fried Justice System in Kentucky to show you the heroes and the villains. Now, this brother's a hero, but not all black people are heroes. So I'm trying to lead you up to part 4, where we're going to talk about this man, a black man, the AG, Daniel Cameron, Republican, conservative, the protege of the great Mitch McConnell, a Trump lover, and he's just been assigned special prosecutor in the Breonna Taylor case. So do you see where I'm going with this? So let's stick to Judge Stevens before we get ahead of ourselves. So right now we're just going over the heroes and the villains, and Brother Judge Stevens ties into this case. So now he caught our attention by letting Mr. Walker go, but he had the attention of white people a long time ago, and this is why. In 2016, he was suspended for 90 days. The public defender in his court kept using all white juries against his black defendants. It's not a jury of your peers if nobody looks like you. Rational argument. Now, in the case of this one defendant, a new jury was formed, this time featuring 4 African American people, and the defendant was later found not guilty.
Damon Shanklin was charged with cultivating marijuana, and his trial started last week. Like usual, a panel of 41 jurors was brought in, but they were all later dismissed. In this grainy court video, Judge Olu Stevens says only 3 of the potential jurors are black.
The concern is that the panel was not representative of the community, although it was randomly selected.
Judge Stevens brought new jurors in, and it's not the first time he's done so. It also happened last November. The defense attorney in a theft case raised concerns that there was only 1 African-American juror, and he was randomly taken off the panel during jury selection.
We're talking about a situation where we have not a single member of this jury that is going to be of Mr. Doss's race.
It concerns me greatly, and enough so I'm going to grant the motion. I'm going to set aside the jury entirely.
Prosecutors are asking the Kentucky Supreme Court to decide if Judge Stevens has the power to do this. Appeals Court Judge Denise Clayton chairs the Chief Justice's Commission on Racial Fairness for Jefferson County Courts. She says officials have been monitoring the racial makeup of jurors. She says based on population, the panel should be at least 21% African American.
The last panel called on October 12th was at 14%. So we're not really hitting the numbers that we need to, or we would hope to.
But now he spoke out and criticized the public defender's tactics of using all white juries to get a conviction against young black brothers, and he was forced to capitulate, apologize, and suspended for 90 days, thereby being put in his place.
I just want to first of all thank everyone that's come out to support me today. I want to say that I'm delighted to have this over with, move forward, and I'm looking forward to getting back to the bench.
That's all Judge Olu Stevens said to reporters as he left the courtroom, but in court he read a longer statement that included an apology to Commonwealth's attorney Tom Wine.
I do not believe Tom Wine is a racist. I apologize for any statements that implied as much. I want to make clear that I hold no ill will toward Mr. Wine or anyone in the Jefferson Commonwealth's Attorney's Office.
Stevens is referring to Facebook comments he posted. At the time, he was angry Wine challenged his dismissal of an all-white jury in a black defendant's case. But in court, Stevens said he recognized Wine's right to seek a legal clarification.
I accept that apology, and as Judge Stevens said, I have no animosity toward him. Never did and won't. My hope is that we will be able to work together professionally, and no reason why we shouldn't be able to do that.
Wine says his prosecutors never strike jurors on the basis of race. Stevens supporters praise Stevens for standing up for judicial diversity.
I think it's going to put it on the forefront, and it's happening all over the country. This is not the first time that this has occurred.
But they don't see the plea deal as a loss for that cause.
No, because we're better off with him on the bench than we are without him on the bench.
Part 3, we look into these police officers that killed Breonna Taylor and who they are.